Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're watching Batman on film.
Hey now, welcome to episode number 56 of the Batman on Film vlog. I am the founder of Batman on Film, Bill Jett Ramey, and with me today, Garrett's back. Garret Grev, everybody.
Hey,
How you doing,
hey,
Garrett?
doing pretty well. It's been a busy couple of weeks in the Grev house.
Yes, I imagine.
Yeah, we had a new baby
Yes,
Lucas, join us about 3 weeks
congratulations.
ago, and thank you, sir, thank you. And ever since then, we've been dealing with a bunch of household illnesses. Like all the other kids got sick, my wife got sick, I got really sick. Everybody's been sick but the new baby. And Bill, I think I credit it when we bring him outside the house. Some very kind man sent him a gift, and one of the gifts was a little winter beanie cap with Batman ears that says "brand new superhero" on it. So he stayed nice and warm and illness free. I think
Awesome.
it must be from that very generous
I think it's
whoever.
just it's the power of Batman in
Yeah, I
general.
think that's it. I
That's it,
think
the
that's it.
power of Batman.
Yeah.
So we got a few things we're going to talk about, um, and we'll start off with the Batman, of course. And because that thing's ramping up, Garrett, it is ramping up.
Yeah.
It's feeling. I mean, it's here. I mean, it actually is here because one of the things I found out is that they're actually doing some filming right now as we speak. It's not. I believe it's second unit type stuff. Nothing involving the principal characters or principal actors in it. So I don't think Pattinson and those guys are doing anything. But I mean, it's happening, and actual filming is going to begin the middle of next month. I mean, literally the middle of next month. I think it's 13th. So the Batman, I have that hashtag going. The Batman is here. Or the
Yeah.
Batman. I'm sorry. The Batman
Batman
is coming. The Batman is
is
coming.
coming.
Well, it's coming. And then
Well, you're right.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, for our purposes, it's here. Like this is sort of when BOF is
This is
doing
the
its thing.
yeah. This is the wheelhouse time. I had it. I posted on Twitter and Facebook. I said a picture of a wheelhouse. I said it's been a while, but I'll be here until 6/25/21. So yeah, it's exciting times right now. And again, I tell everybody, enjoy this. This is the fun part. I mean, seeing the movie
Sure.
is awesome, but the ride to the movie, because once the movie's here, and you go, okay, it's here. I watched it, and what's next? There's
Right.
nothing. You
Right.
get there's a while before you hear anything about a sequel or anything like that. So yeah,
Well,
enjoy. Yeah,
depending on the movie, because I think we're all really optimistic that we're going to get something great here, and based on the way this cast is, firming up,
yes,
and all the notes and news we've gotten about it, sounds like we're probably going to have something special on the way.
yes. I
Fingers
believe
crossed.
so. Yeah, I'm with you. Fingers crossed. And speaking of cast, we did get some casting news last week. Peter Sarsgaard, and this was the end of last week. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I had tweeted, because there was like the week after Thanksgiving or so ish, there was like a 3 week gap of time between Thanksgiving and the Christmas, and then end up New Year's. And usually during the Christmas and then the New Year break, Hollywood kind of just shuts down. There's nothing going
Right.
on. And so I figured, I said, well, this next 3 weeks are going to be interesting. It could be interesting. And by Friday, I believe, they announced. And I love the way Matt Reeves is doing this. I mean, he must be having fun. He's doing it on Twitter, and he's, post a GIF or a picture or something and have a little saying. But he said, "Oh, hi there, Peter." And of course, Peter Sarsgaard has joined the cast.
Right. Just
And
waving away in that
yeah,
photo.
and I'm wondering. And now he didn't mention the character, but there's some theories based on the image he used
Right.
to announce it, plus the his wife, who actually is Maggie Gyllenhaal,
Right.
who played Rachel Dawes in The Dark Knight. That's Peter Sarsgaard's wife. She had a picture on her Instagram of shaving his head,
Yeah.
and said, "We're half done with a shave."
Yeah. Halfway
half.
through the shave. I didn't
And
catch that at first either.
yeah,
So, I saw, I think it was on the BOF fan page on Facebook, and I saw, someone had said, well, she's being cheeky here, and it's obviously playing into this because
yeah,
said halfway through the shave, and I'm like, looked like his whole head was shaved. I had to go back, and it was sort of, it almost looked like a shadow, but if you look, he's got sort of like a all the way no guard shave right down the middle,
Yeah.
and on the other half it's got
Yeah.
sort of just like a little bit of a buzz cut.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, they all seem like they're having a ton of fun with this. Like
Yes.
bringing in the wives, let's get goofy,
Yeah.
let's make it fun online and use social
Yeah.
media to do the work for us.
It's fun. You know, I love Nolan. I love the trilogy, but this is just something Chris wouldn't do. I mean, he didn't get
No.
on. He didn't get on the computer. He didn't. You know, didn't, I don't. He really used a cell phone. So it's just different to have this kind of stuff going along with it. And the picture that Matt Reeves used was a picture of Sarsgaard in one of his performances, and but there are two faces, and you know, there's a reflection, and there's
Right.
him. There's two faces you see, and I don't know. I mean, I can't say if that was done on purpose, and he's actually playing Two-Face, but you never know. I mean, that's the speculation because Two-Face was supposed to be in the film. From what I had heard earlier, he was going to be full on Two-Face, and not Harvey Dent. So we'll see, I guess. You know, this is really
Yeah.
the only announcement that he hasn't mentioned. I think he hasn't mentioned the character when he's tweeted out the casting announcement. So maybe that was his way of doing it. I don't know. Any thoughts differently?
No.
Or yeah.
No, I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
it's Two-Face. You know, as much as I loved Aaron Eckhart's performance in The Dark Knight and what they did with Two-Face in that version of the Batman story, I still don't know that. And I don't want to get into the quibbles around it needs to be 100% comic accurate or anything like that. But the Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face we got in Batman Forever was pretty far off the mark. The Harvey Two-Face in The Dark Knight was particular for that story that they were
Yes.
telling. You
Yeah,
didn't
yes.
necessarily see the split personality thing. You know,
Yes.
the origin was different. I don't really care about the origin being different, but you didn't really see that multiple personality. I personally, they don't need to do this. This is just my preference. I would love to see a true split personality. What is that? The technical disorder term, but I'd love to see that. And with an actor of Sarsgaard's caliber, I think he could crush that. So I'd
Yeah.
love to see them lean way heavy in that area. I really hope he is Two-Face.
My only thing with Two-Face, I would, and it's just my preference, but if he's full blown Two-Face, if the character is in the Batman, I would like to see a whole film where Harvey Dent is the DA and he's a good guy. Really set that up for later. But
That's the long Halloween fan in me too. You want that partnership.
Yeah.
You sort of get the emotional resonance of the two. You kind of want to have the loss of Harvey Dent be a pain point for the audience too.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Dark Knight did so well.
Yeah.
You really believed, I believe in Harvey
Yeah.
Dent, but you really did. So when he went the way he did, the audience felt that loss. They felt the pain as well, where it's like, oh, this downfall of this noble character. So yeah, I think it would be nice sort of to get some of that. But it sounds like, he said, it sounds like there, or at least initial reports was, we're going to jump in on, full blown established Two-Face. Like this is post accident. This is post whatever. He's just villain. So we'll see what we get.
Yeah. Reeves has said that, even though he's, in the early years of being Batman, it's not Batman year one, but he's
Right.
in his first 3 years or whatever. That the Rogues Gallery is there. I don't know if every single character who's part of Batman's Rogues exists, but I mean obviously some major ones do. Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, maybe the Joker's out there. We don't know. Maybe we don't know if he's going to be at but maybe he's out there somewhere, even though we don't see him. So maybe Two-Face already exists as well. But like I said, personal preference aside, if they do the Dent thing and then Two-Face later, that would be cool. But if he's full blown Two-Face,
tell the story you want to tell. I love, I love the fact that we're likely getting a Batman in like year 3, year 4, somewhere in there, because I think it gives the filmmakers so many more options of where to go. I think I've said before, I think one of my I enjoy it. I enjoy it in the comic books. I enjoy it in some other places. But sort of the Grant Morrison Bat, super genius Bat God can do no wrong, has a plan for everything, is always one step ahead, always has everything figured out, isn't always the most interesting for me. I think a Batman that's still sort of learning his way in an established world. It doesn't need to be all origin from the ground floor up. but it kind of gives us a chance to see a fallible Batman, a
Yes,
Batman that's figuring
absolutely.
out that can take some lumps, right?
Yes,
Otherwise,
yes,
it's not quite as
yes.
interesting for me.
I'm with you all the way. I mean, that's what makes the character interesting. He's
Right,
human. He has faults.
right,
He can stumble. No, he wins, but
right.
it's all not always easy for him to
And if you
win.
can if you
Yeah.
can do that without going on a murderous killing spree, then I'm all good. Those are the mistakes I don't have a lot of room
Well,
for.
let's just go ahead and talk about that.
Shoot.
Yeah, it's a good transition. So, um, I would I would is, is it safe for me to assume that Batman the Animated Series was a major part of your Batman fandom, becoming a
You
Batman fan?
Huge.
Okay.
66 was first, but
Okay.
then, the 89 movie, my parents took me when I was looking back on it, probably too young. I wouldn't let my
Yeah.
my kids that are a little bit older than that even
Yeah.
to see 89 yet. But then, Returns, and then right on the heels of
Yeah.
Returns, I was like 9 years old
Yeah. That's what I'm
when the
talking
animated
about. Yeah.
series launched. And, I think it premiered in prime time. We recorded on
Mm-hmm.
VHS tapes off the
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
They're still at my mom's house with all like the 90s, toy
Yeah.
cartoons cut
Yeah.
in and everything. And that was, I think it was after schools on Saturday. We watched and recorded those all the time, rewatched, and just amazing. And I've shown some of those episodes to
Mm-hmm.
my kids. We're probably a little bit overprotective with TV now that I think about it, much more so than my parents were. But some of those episodes are downright
Yeah.
a little creepy. They're a little bit much
Yeah.
for kids because
Yeah.
there's, I mean, they appeal to such a broad audience. I don't need to go on and on about the animated series, but yeah, huge. It was a huge influence on me.
Yeah, I mean, I was already in my 20s. I mean, I think I was 22. I mean, I'm getting in my mid 20s. I'm heading toward 30 by the time that came out. So my Batman fandom was already created. But with that said, I love Batman the Animated Series, and I love Kevin Conroy voicing Batman.
Yeah.
And I think to a lot of people, I've had debates with people about this.
Oh, you have an infamous stand on this one.
I do. I don't. When you say who's the best Batman actor,
Right.
to me it's live act. You got to go with live action first. I think there's just a big difference between the voice performance, which is fantastic, and
Right.
then an actor actually in front of a camera portraying a role. There's just a huge difference, and it's maybe that's why I bring up your fandom for Batman the Animated Series. Most of the people who say it's Kevin Conroy, well, that's how they became A lot of them, that was their conduit to become Batman fans. So I get it. I get
Sure.
it. I think Conroy, at least the animated series itself, is probably on the Batman Mount Rushmore. I would
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if I would put Conroy up there himself, but that series I definitely would do it. So anyway,
Now, I agree entirely,
yeah,
by the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
I think and that's no disrespect to voice actors. That's a particular talent. It's a
Yes,
particular craft.
absolutely. Yeah.
But when I'm considering the same question or what's been posed to me, I'm thinking live action because the physical performance
Yes.
is such a big part of it, and and not just the physique part because
No.
we've seen Batman of all different sizes, but the facial expressions,
Yes.
and we talk about the eyes so much. I feel like I talk half the
Yes.
week about the importance of eyes and
Yes.
cowls on
Yeah.
the fan page. But I agree. Now Conroy, ton of respect. He's right up there.
Yes.
But I'd put that. He's the top of the vocal cast for me,
Yes.
right? Of the
Absolutely.
vocal actors,
Yeah.
he's number one with a bullet. But I have a hard time thinking about them in the same list as
Yeah.
well.
And if you do, I get it. I get where you're coming from because Adam West, of course, he's live action. Adam West is still my Batman because that is how
Right.
I became a Batman fan. So moving on, getting back to Conroy. So finally, Kevin Conroy gets to play a live action version of not Batman but Bruce Wayne and
Yeah.
in the CW DC universe. They're having it. If you're watching this, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's for the Crisis on Infinite Earths multi-show crossover,
Right.
and based on the comic from the 1980s, and loosely, kind of.
Hmm.
And so Conroy, they hyped it up. Conroy gets an extended cameo, I would say.
Yeah.
I'd call it that, as an aged Bruce Wayne. And the first publicity stills they show. Let me go back. The first thing I thought when I thought that's awesome, because maybe it's a way to kind of bring the animated series into that multiverse thing. You know,
Right.
maybe he would be riffing off of the animated series, even though it's not animated. But you know what I'm getting.
Right.
I'm getting at. Okay.
Yeah, in spirit.
Yes. And so then they release the first publicity still, and he is in the exoskeleton that you see in the graphic novel Kingdom Come. So
Right.
then I'm thinking, okay, he's Kingdom Come Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of people were excited and fired up. Kevin Conroy finally gets to play Bruce Wayne, blah, blah, blah. And so the thing is on now. It started this week, right? Was it this week?
Yeah, it was this
I
week.
watched it online. I didn't. Okay. And Garrett, what did you think?
Oh man. So I should preface this. I used to really watch a lot of the CW shows. Arrow I was into for the first couple seasons. I was much more into Flash in its first probably
Yes, I was too.
3.5
Yeah,
seasons.
I'm with
Loved
you.
it.
Yeah.
Everything's just become a bit too much CW for me, you know, and it's a lot to keep up with. It's a lot of shows, you know, and you only have so much time available. And it's just sort of lost some of its charm, but they get me every year when they do these crossovers.
Yeah.
I love the crossover thing. I'm a sucker for the gimmick.
Yeah.
So I'll tune in for those, and I did that here. And man, it wasn't good. It's not what you.
Spoiler, hey, we're going to talk about it. Full disclosure.
Right.
So if you don't want to know, you're waiting. Fast forward.
Yeah.
Or stop right now. We're going to talk about Wonder Woman
hit
here
pause,
shortly.
go watch it.
But anyway, go ahead, Garrett. Yeah.
It just it was a bit of a letdown, right? Because I think it sort of seemed like it was trying to be a bit of a Batman Beyond, you know, a little bit of connection there. Kingdom Come, but this isn't the same world that the Brandon Routh Superman from Kingdom Come is, so that's not really there. It was clear that I think the showrunners were looking for a way to make Batwoman the sigil of, I can't remember, bravery or whatever they were saying it was, where it would have been Batman in the past, but now, you know, for the needs of the CW series, the only Batman we've ever been exposed to has no help or has no hope, has lost his way, has killed his rogues, has killed his Superman, and like this is the thing we got Conroy for, like. You know, a bunch of people my age have been waiting forever, and this is how you utilize the guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, Ruby Rose is not a particularly strong actress. I've checked out the Batwoman and haven't been blown away by it. Looks cool, but that's not always enough. And so I feel like, you know, we know Conroy's a good actor. We know Ruby Rose is maybe not as skilled of an actor. And that scene was just kind of a mess for me, and I didn't like the character choices.
He makes this depiction of Bruce Wayne makes Ben Affleck's Batman in BVS look like a freaking Boy Scout.
Yeah, Saint Affleck now. People are going to be saying.
I look. I know I was being a little snarky, and I couldn't help it, but I had to tweet and post. I said, you know, sometimes you get what you wish for.
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy as a live-action Bruce Wayne, and I was let down. I was excited about seeing it. I thought they'd make him a good, you know, a hero, good guy, and he's a complete asshole.
Yeah, he's the worst.
Yes,
he's the worst.
Yes.
Now his voice still sounds great while he's being the worst. I mean, I would have wanted better material and a better storyline.
Yeah, the performance was good. I'm not saying anything about his performance.
Nope, he's a good actor.
I get probably why he maybe agreed. Maybe it was I finally get to play Batman in the flesh.
Yeah, right.
But also, it's edgy, kind of out there, not what people were expecting at all. I get that. It was probably more exciting, but I got to say it was a letdown. It really was. And
I'm with you.
And I feel bad for a lot of your vintage of Batman fans who adore him and put him on a pedestal, and this happened, and they get this. Now, some of them may have liked it. You know, I had some of them go, hey, it was awesome, blah, blah, blah. That's fine, but I just think they could have done something a little bit different. That's just me.
And I don't, I'm not somebody that is going to get upset when you subvert my expectations. You know, Rick might tell you I feel differently when it comes to Star Wars about that sort of thing because we've
Yeah.
had that conversation
Okay. All
where
right.
one of those movies subvert your expectations, and I wasn't thrilled. But it just seems like you get one shot at this. You know, it's been building for so long. If people liked sort of the twist, that's great, good for them. I would have liked to see them do something a little bit more traditional and iconic because he is so iconic and represents a very traditional Batman for me. Now, on the other hand, I love what they're doing with the Brandon Routh Superman. Like
Yes. Now that's
that's
awesome.
been
Yeah.
incredible. Like I want more of that. I mean,
Yeah.
if they did a limited series of Brandon Routh as the Kingdom Come Superman on HBO Max or something, I mean, sign me up.
You
I
know
would be
what?
adding another streaming platform to my house.
I am someone who I am not a hater of Superman Returns.
Yeah.
I get why some people don't like it.
Yep.
For me, probably it's more of a nostalgia thing because it does riff off Superman the movie. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
riff, like
Right.
guitar. Okay, and it's got the same story beats and so forth like that, and it's kind of a homage to it. It's pretty much like a sequel. You ignore
Doodle sequel. Yeah.
you ignore Superman 3, you ignore Superman 4, and you go to this. But still, I thought Brandon Routh was. I think that's another wasted
Right.
Superman on film.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
wish he had got a second opportunity
The,
on film to play the character. And I guess this is the closest they come. But I'm with you. If they would do a Brandon Routh Superman mini or something, I would
little
love
six
it.
part
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
like kind of, Mandalorian-esque
yes,
type,
yeah,
just a limited series, high production quality. You have WB's track record of fully taking
yes.
advantage of excellent
I mean,
Superman
yeah,
cast.
I
Less
would,
than
yeah,
stellar at
I
this
would,
point.
yeah, make it something that's HBO or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be great. But maybe that's an idea for Warner Brothers. Come on now,
Yeah.
do it.
You're watching.
Yeah,
We know you're watching.
yeah,
Come
yeah. So,
on.
but yeah, that was done well. Conroy,
Yeah.
not my thing. I wish it had been something
I'm
different.
gonna miss.
Yeah, and I did like the fact he was the Kingdom Come looking Bruce
Oh, it looked
Wayne.
cool.
Yeah, because I'm a fan of that graphic novel. I would love to see that turned into
Love it.
to like do that like they're doing Watchmen on HBO right now.
Huh? Oh man,
Do something
that
like
would
that. I
crush.
mean, I mean that
And the
would fit
tone's
that. Yeah,
right.
yes.
Like for what they're doing in with Watchmen and
Yeah.
how it's connecting. And people talk a lot about Watchmen, the movie,
Hmm.
Zack Snyder's Watchmen in 2009 being ahead of its time, and people weren't really ready for that sort of nihilistic take on superheroes and sort of, a really
Hmm.
sort of dark view of humanity. I think they are now because Watchmen, the TV show, is
Yeah.
crushing. It's so good, and it's
Yeah.
being really well received. And the Kingdom Come universe is sort of ripe for that sort of take and
Yeah.
approach. You could be a little bit darker, a little bit more hopeless, as long as you get to where you need to get, like they
Hmm.
do in that graphic novel. That's one of my all-time
Yeah.
favorites too.
Yeah. Okay. Do that, and then get Brandon Routh to play the Kingdom Come
Right?
Superman. There you go. So we're on the same page with that. So yeah, Watchmen's awesome. I just started
So
watching
good.
it, so I'm catching up. And I like, believe it or not, I'm a big fan of the movie. I really am. The live action.
I like it
I
too.
really do. And I'll even say this, Garrett. Don't tell anybody. I like the ending of the movie better than the graphic novel.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. And
Yeah.
now I won't say much. It's really interesting that the TV show is a sequel to the graphic novel and not the movie because I feel like tonally and visually it could very easily be a sequel to Snyder's film. They do a really good job with some of those elements that weren't in the movie in
Yes.
the TV show.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of a standalone movie, yeah, I thought that was a good choice.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. All right. So moving on from Batman and Superman and Kingdom Come and all this, Kevin Conroy and all of that. Let's talk about Wonder Woman 1984. The trailer premiered this weekend. Let me say this first. As someone who went to Comic-Con for years in San Diego and went from being able to just walk in Hall H for the big presentations without even getting in line to where not even attempting it because you'd have to camp out days in advance.
Right.
Now, luckily enough, there was a few occasions I had a VIP pass from Warner Brothers. So when Snyder was there and did the first look of BVS back in, golly, when was that? 15 or so?
14 maybe?
Yeah. I got in on a VIP pass, but I mean, it's become such a cluster that I don't even want to go anymore. It's not, now my point being is that for years we'd go, why don't they just stream this somehow so people
Right.
that can see it, and they wouldn't do it. There was like, oh, there'd be piracy and blah 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 blah. And now you saw at this Brazil Comic-Con, what was it, CCXP? Is that
Yeah,
the name
something
of
like
it?
that.
Okay, they actually had a whole streaming. You saw the whole Wonder Woman 1984 presentation on Twitter, just like you were. I mean, being there is
Right.
fun, but you got to see it. So maybe they'll do this. Start doing this. That's my point. Getting around to Comic-Con, maybe we'll be able to do this. They'll do this for the Batman, because the Batman is actually, Matt Reeves said the Batman is going to the CCXP next year in Brazil, and that's in December. July is Comic-Con, so maybe they'll do something with it there. So we'll see.
Right.
But if they do, I hope they stream it. And even what they're doing, Garrett, as soon as they drop a trailer or something, it goes online immediately.
Which is great.
I mean, I sit here now and I wait. When I'm there, I have to see it and then scramble somewhere where I can get on my laptop and post it. So
Right.
anyway,
Or to go do another rewatch.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I always watch these things twice, because
Yeah.
the first time you're just sort of like, your jaw's sort of hanging open a little bit. You're just taking it in for the first time. And the second one is like, okay,
Yeah.
what did I really see there?
Yeah.
What are my thoughts? Let me analyze it a little bit more.
Yes. So they dropped the trailer. What did you think?
I loved it. I think you and I are going to be a little bit further apart on this one than
Maybe
we
a little
normally
bit,
are on
maybe
things.
a little bit.
I really, really enjoyed it. And I'll tell you, as I started thinking about like what were all the elements I liked. I like Gal Gadot or Gadot. Think she's fantastic and talented and lovely and really embodies the character well. I was pleasantly surprised with Kristen Wiig, and I've seen her in some dramatic performances before, but she's always just a little bit goofy and off, even when she's playing serious. And there was a little bit of that. You didn't see a ton of her in the trailer, but I thought how they used her and what they showed was really well done.
Yeah.
The action I thought looks great. The Steve Trevor stuff, I'm sort of let's wait and see on that just a little bit. I have confidence in Patty Jenkins as a filmmaker, but that's the biggest question mark for me. But I think what I enjoyed the most was the color palette, which seems a little bit strange, but it is bright, it's dynamic, it's fun, it's bold without trying to be deep and bold. Like things are dialed up here. It's fun, but it is not it's not Aquaman goofy colorful fun, right? Like I think it's
absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think they've found. I really enjoy seeing these movies find their own cinematic and visual voice and not have to be tied back to what we saw in the first 3-4 movies or so, right? So I really enjoy that this has its own look and feel. It's different from what we saw in Wonder Woman. I think it plays kind of into the 80s, bright, colorful, poppy type stuff. But I just thought it had a really nice sort of voice of its own while still clearly being the Wonder Woman that, audiences have grown to know and love over really not that many appearances.
My first reaction, I've watched it several times, because my first reaction was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't hate it. No, I didn't hate it. I think I am someone, okay, believe it or not, I graduated high school in 1984. So this 80s is very vivid to me. I don't remember walking around in the 80s and seeing that bright colors everywhere around. So I think that's a little bit, I get it. But after watching a few times, I'm totally with it. I love period pieces. If they've already talked about number 3, making another period piece, I don't care. But I'm very excited for the movie. I can't say it blew me away, love it, but it's enough for me to go, okay, I see what they're doing. I dig it. It makes me want to see the film even more. So, and that's what it's for anyway.
Right.
You know, you can't, and sure as hell I'm not going to judge a movie on a trailer. Which,
Right.
you know, no one does that, right?
No, never happened.
No one judges a movie on a trailer. So I'm wondering what they do with the cheetah character. You know, we don't see the cheetah, quote unquote.
Right.
So does she go full blown cheetah like the comic books, or is it a different take on it? We have to wait and see. So the Max Lord character, I'm interested in more of that.
Oh yeah, Pedro
yeah.
Pascal is
Yeah.
amazing. He's a great performer.
I want to see how they pull off the Steve Trevor thing, because obviously it's Steve Trevor from the original film.
Yeah, yeah, it's him. It's not a grandson. It's not a distant relative. That's a lookalike.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be somebody pretending or masquerading as Steve Trevor.
Yeah.
I guess we don't know. One interesting thing, and this is like you really get deep into nerdy stuff. You know, there's a cut of Steve later in the trailer. I can't remember exactly what he's saying, but he looks like he's not in such great health, or he's deteriorating. And I'm like, I wonder if that's, you know, I don't think Steve's here to stay. I think maybe he's back and he's gone. You know, I just wonder what
it
it
sucks for Diana. She's gonna.
I know he gets to lose it twice.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So,
Really pulling the rug out from under it.
Yeah.
It seems like, you know, he's back for some, you know, something brought him back, and he doesn't seem, at least to me, my impression on a couple of those shots, like, oh, this guy's not hanging around.
What I liked about that, because I thought, you know, when, you know, because I love Wonder Woman, I love the fact he made that sacrifice, and then when we found out that he was going to come back, I was thinking, how are they going to do this? Would it be cheesy for him to be the Steve Trevor that we saw in Wonder Woman 1? Will that take away from the film, the original film, you know, his death? But Patty Jenkins said that they had an idea while they were shooting Wonder Woman, if they make a sequel, how he would come back. So it's nothing that they did like, okay, let's make a Wonder Woman sequel, and how are we going to bring him back? And, you know, it was something they were doing at the time they were making the original. So I feel that makes me feel confident it won't be something silly or cheesy or goofy. So
yeah, same for me. I was reassured by that. I've read, you know, a couple variations of that quote in a few different places. And it's nice because I think Steve, you know, Trevor and Chris Pine in that role really connected with the audience in Wonder Woman. You know, it's just really some cute dialogue back and forth. But you know, the chemistry was great. I think, you know, he's a good-looking dude, so there's probably a little bit of a draw there. And then, you know, the big, bold sacrifice at the end, that was an endearing character. I was glad to hear Patty Jenkins come out and make those statements, because it sort of made me feel like, okay, this wasn't studio notes that, hey, guess what? Yeah, greenlit for the sequel, but audiences love Steve Trevor. You got to get Steve Trevor back. Like, I'm glad to hear that it was organic, and that they had a reason for bringing him back that is paramount to the story, and not just like, you know, get more Steve Trevor. You know, it's high on the favorability ratings for the test audience or whatever.
Agreed. And we'll find out in about, 6 months now that film will be out.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big deal. We got Birds of Prey coming. That's kind of flying underneath the radar a little bit. We'll see how that. We'll talk more about that later on. But we did get we got character posters from Birds of Prey, and because they were at that CCXP as well, and they released some video, but they did not post anything.
No, I haven't seen anything
online officially. It was just for the people who were attended the Comic-Cons. All right, what I wanted to ask you before we move on about Wonder Woman 84, does the fact that she exists in 1984, is that a recon of her being away from mankind for 100 years?
Yeah, 100% it is. Good.
I've seen some theories online, her taking the tiara and using like a batarang and taking out the cameras that keeps there from being any visual evidence that she was there. But
maybe.
I mean, but she's there. So, you know, she's Wonder Woman it up in 1984. So,
and if that's what they want to do, if that's the way they're trying to reconcile, you know, what this movie is and the timeline with what was said, and in BVS. I mean, that's fine. And if people that like that movie, I'm not really one of them, make that more enjoyable to them because there's sort of this mental out that this isn't so separated from what's been established, that's fine. Good for them. But I think it's pretty clear the way that that was portrayed in Batman versus Superman is Wonder Woman had basically abandoned humanity for roughly 100 years.
And that was one of the things about Wonder Woman in that film probably the only thing about Wonder Woman in that film I didn't like. I thought that the way she showed up was great.
Right.
But I was like, really, you're going to abandon mankind for a century, but
which just isn't it's not Wonder Woman. That's not this love and compassion. Like that's I was not a fan of that choice. I wasn't a fan of, a number of choices, but when it came to Wonder Woman, that was really the one because it's so out of step with her character, and you sort of want to have those core aspects of the character established before you peel them away, because peeling them away or making the character question that stuff can be really interesting, but you need to earn it. You need to do the groundwork to establish why that's a major issue, why that's such a oh man, Wonder Woman is abandoned hope. Like why is that a big deal? You can't do that if that's the first thing you find out. So I like what they're doing. As I said, if it gives other people a way to think that it's all still connected in some greater way than maybe it is, that's great. It's clearly still the same Wonder Woman. They're just saying, hey, this thing we were thinking about doing with this character before, we're not doing that anymore to me. And whether or not she destroys all visual evidence or not, that's sort of
people
not
have
really
seen
the
her.
point.
I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah,
you're
her.
going to see her. And it also kind of takes away from the bookends of Wonder Woman, of Bruce Wayne finding that picture with Steve Trevor, because it's like she hadn't seen him since then,
right?
But now she's
in
1984. So
we don't know. Maybe at the end, Steve disappears and she doesn't remember ever seeing him. But they're clearly not getting. The filmmakers themselves are not nearly as tied up in the idea that every little continuity beat needs to stay consistent across all these movies for people to enjoy them as some members of your online fan communities are. So, and to me, like, I enjoy it. I enjoy when everything sort of makes sense and connects and I can follow it, but it doesn't take away from it if I know that the filmmakers are saying, hey, we're just making this movie and we want to make this movie the best we can. And to do that, we sort of just need to not address this thing.
And that's exactly what they're doing. Like people will say, Warner Brothers they don't know what the hell they're doing. Well, now they know exactly what they're doing. They've decided that, okay, this didn't work. We're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, we're going to keep what worked. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Obviously now Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. They're going to keep the stuff that worked and move forward, and that's kind of say, we're just going to make these films and we're not going to worry about anything else. We're going to make them the best that they can be. And, same with the Batman. The Batman obviously will have nothing to do with any of this stuff. It's Matt Reeves is making a film. He's going to make it the best Batman film he can make, and I hope at some point we get that with Superman. So again, I hope they give Superman another shot. It worries me that they may not anytime soon.
And I know you're pessimistic about Cavill back in the role, but I mean, hope against hope that dude gets another shot, because he's just consistently displayed a passion for playing the character.
Yeah.
Where not to pull up a bunch of old tapes, but where Affleck was clearly sort of ready to be done and go back to being a director and didn't want to deal with the hassle and the headache anymore and had his personal life stuff going on. Cavill stayed. Like, I want to be Superman. I've got more Superman stories to tell in me, and I read the comics, and I think his PR people are doing a really nice job with how they set up that article in Men's Health in the current issue. It's not all about Superman, but it references Superman. They clearly, I think, designed some questions for him to be able to bring up that topic. He's sort of doing that, I feel like, in the right way. We'll see if it ever works out for him.
He's absolutely doing it in the right way.
And he's being classy about it.
He is, and I'm not going to bring up the whole hashtag movement, but he didn't participate in their latest event a few weeks ago, and I get why he didn't. I totally get. He wants to play Superman again.
He wants to stay in the good graces of Warner Brothers. Why thorn in their side?
And quite frankly, I don't think he's happy with how Superman was portrayed after Man of Steel. Man of Steel was created to be Batman Begins for Superman, and then it didn't become that. And his portrayal in the two other films, and then in Justice League, the joke was about the mustache removal. So,
Right.
I wrote on Batman on Film after he gave that interview, when he was asked about the Snyder Cut and so forth, and he got hammered by a lot of those people online, and either the point to where it was, let's cyber harass this man on Instagram with
But
stuff.
politely, Bill. Let's cyber harass him politely.
That makes it okay. Come on now.
Right.
But I wrote, hey, I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think it'll happen. But come on, Warner Brothers, make Man of Steel 2. Just forget about the other two. Pick up right after where Man of Steel left off.
Done.
Why not? It was set up perfectly for a true Superman film, and like Brandon Routh, and I said earlier, he didn't get another chance to really bring something more to the character in another film. I mean, Henry hasn't either since Man of Steel.
No, it'd just be a big shame.
I borderline love Man of Steel. So, that's 2 Zack Snyder movies, Garrett. I really like Watchmen.
Look at you.
And, I like 300. Oh my gosh.
Bill, you're going to destroy your reputation if you keep going here.
Yes.
You're anti-Snyder. Everybody knows you're anti-Snyder. What are you trying to do here, man?
I'm trying to ruin my. Am I trying to ruin my bad reputation? No.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could get off on a tangent of this, but I'd love for Cavill to get another shot at the character. He's great, and I am a Superman fan as well, so I hope they do something with that character at some point. But God, Cavill that is such a missed opportunity if they. I mean, he was perfect for the role, and he like you said, he's loves playing the character, which is awesome.
Right.
All right. So, anything else about anything we talked about today, Garrett? Or you want to finish up, or if not, plug whatever you would like, sir.
No, I think we're good. Obviously stay tuned. I'm staying tuned closely for any news because I feel like, as you said, we're in it, and more stuff is going to be coming. So I'm anxious for that, and we can get together and talk about stuff as it comes out, or get on the podcast, tune into the podcast. Otherwise, from a comic book standpoint, I've been reviewing Justice League for a while for the site now, about I think about a year and a half worth of issues, and there's been this really long, ongoing story Scott Snyder's been telling that incorporates. I mean, it's really kind of an offshoot of the story he's telling, and pretty much everything past Rebirth, really. Okay. And it is sort of all coming to a head now, and it is big, cosmic, Batman in space, Legion of Doom, multiverse stuff. It's really kind of crazy and bonkers and out there, but that's kind of seems like that's coming to a conclusion. So that's been exciting. And check out my reviews for for those issues. I think the next one comes out next week. Mm-hmm. Other than that, there's a He-Man comic book that I've been intending to review for the site. It's another big multiverse of Eternia stuff that hopefully I'll get around to. I read it. It's bonkers. I've got some thoughts on it with the baby and the illnesses. I haven't had a chance to write them down, but I'll do that and then probably get on board for the second issue. It's a mini series. But otherwise, it's kind of been fantasy football season for me now. It's the playoffs, and I've actually got my Batman on Film Fantasy Football League with our dear friend Eric as the commissioner on that. I have had a horrible season in that league. That's my worst league. But we've got I'm in an industry league, Scott Fishbowl. It's the largest fantasy football tournament in the nation, and it's for charity. And managed to get myself to the final round on that. Right. So we'll see. Out of 1,600 participants, I'm down to the last 100. So got a couple weeks to go on that front.
And the Batman on Film League, I decided to start really winning at the end. When I was like over, and then won several games in a row, and I'm like a little bit too late. And then in my other league, I'm one of those that I'm almost the highest scorer in the league, but when the week I play, someone has their best week ever.
Yeah, you're getting second highest points on the week. I've been there.
Yeah. So
your guy Michael Gallup down in Dallas has helped me out. So I know the Cowboys haven't had a stellar season, but they've got some guys that are doing some big performances.
Oh my!
That's
getting
football on film.
It's been maddening. We went to the Thanksgiving game, and I was done. And then here's the thing: they're gonna dick around, and they're gonna end up winning this awful NFC East. I think. I really do.
I think so.
But regardless, I think big changes are coming for the Cowboys after this season, no matter what they do. I just can't fathom them going on a run, not after they've played this year. So you can get me on a whole nother tangent. All right.
We could do a different vlog.
You want to plug your Twitter or anything else, social media wise?
Yeah, go ahead, follow me. I'm at Garret, WATO. Garret is GARRET. WATO stands for What Are the Odds? That's my fantasy football show, and that's for Twitter. And you get a lot of football stuff, but you probably get a lot of superhero stuff along with it. It's sort of Batman, Superman, football is sort of
all right.
Star Wars now too, with the Star Wars movie coming out. So if you like all that stuff, go ahead and see what I have to say.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at Batman on Film, and that's going to do it. Batman on Film, Authoritative, Definitive, the Dead Gum Original, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.